You decided you want to become a content creator, and maybe you've already tried it, but you're not seeing any growth. Or maybe you aspire to become one, but you're so stressed trying to figure it out on your own that you don't even start. The time has come for you to get started, and I'm excited that I get to help you get there without the stress or overwhelm. There is so much advice out there that tells us we need to post 3 times a day, that we need to post at certain times in the day, that we need to have a niche, and that the only way to success is by overworking yourself and being in hustle mode. Now, I 1000% disagree with all of these outdated tips. Back in the day, all of these tips did work. But as we continue to evolve, social media continues to evolve. And what worked in that season isn't going to work in this season. When I actually followed those tips, although they worked, it still led me to burnout. And that's not something that I want you to have to go through. I didn't feel like I could evolve with my content, and I became very anxious just at the thought of posting online, and it took away all the passion and fun out of it for me. I've been doing social media marketing for about 10 years now, and in this past year, I started doing one-on-one mentorships with businesses and creators, and I just love how much clarity they've been experiencing and how they can show up online authentically without burning themselves to the ground. I truly love helping people walk in their purpose, share their faith online, really help them close the gap between their current reality and where they're destined to be, and even leveraging social media to earn an income and make a living off of it. This is something that is not far-fetched. It is something that is possible for you. A lot of what I'm sharing are mindsets and lessons that I've discussed within my one-on-one sessions, so I know this is going to be such an impactful episode. Make sure you're ready to take notes, that you're open to receive, because it is time to start learning. If you have a tip to add that has helped you, or you want a part 2, make sure to let me know and share in the comments. Here's what you're going to do to thrive as a content creator in 2025. Impact over insights. It can become really easy to attach your self-worth with the analytics that you're seeing on social media if you are not intentional about it. Which is why I think it's so important for me to remind you that your worth is not mutually exclusive with how your content is performing. Impactful metrics include showing up when you don't feel like it, giving your absolute best, and providing valuable information that can actually transform someone's life, giving someone hope and encouragement, or even taking someone from step A to step Z. And I want to backdoor this with a lot of us will set goals that are based on insights versus impact. I know for me, I used to say I'm going to be at 10,000 followers within the next few months. And while that is a good goal, if you happen to not reach it, you tend to feel discouraged, and it starts to make you pull the brakes on what you work so hard to actually start. So choose to focus on how you can show up for yourself and the people you are serving. And it's not bad to look at your analytics to see what's working, or to see how you can improve better, or to see what your audience likes more of. But there is a point in a blurred line of when it becomes too much, where you start obsessing over it. And this is such an easy habit to get into that when I first started my YouTube, I really had to be intentional with myself, with not constantly looking at how many views I got, seeing how many subscribers I got, or looking at the monetization status of how many watch hours that I have. My focus when I started was, how can I bring the most value that I possibly can with the experiences that I've had and the knowledge and the wisdom that I have, so that I can help you improve your life, which has led me to having more subscriptions, more watch hours, and more fulfillment in my life. People pleasing. Don't feel like you have to post certain videos just to get views, because this is going to lead to burnout. When you do this, you will start to lose yourself and what you are truly doing this for, because your focus is on being externally validated by other people. And something that I have to think about is the fact that I understand that a lot of the ideas and the topics and my experiences aren't going to be for everybody. And even when I share them, they may not get a lot of views. But this goes back to the focusing on the analytics and putting our worth in there. I focus my attention on the one person I'm helping versus trying to attract every single person. I've gone down the rabbit hole of making videos that I know that are popular. For example, like the transition videos that you see on TikTok. But to me, those are so pointless because I have so much more to give. But I did it just because I know people are always searching for it and I knew that would get a lot of views. So do something that feels more authentic to you and your personality. The key to growth is community. Building a community is having those die-hard supporters that no matter what you do, they're gonna show up and show out for you. I am blessed to say that I have built a community who does just that for me. I could make anything or do anything and they're going to support me in it. But that's because they trust me, that's because they know that I care, and they know that I'm not gonna lead them down the wrong path. But that's because they understand who I am by how I show up for them on my social media. I used to show up differently than how I do now. I would say that I am a warm creator, but when I first started, I was a cold creator, and I actually got this term and verbiage from Julia Broom. And when she shared these terms, it really helped me put into words exactly what I used to do and what I do now. What I used to do in the past was just post my video, log off, and go about my day and post the next one. I never engaged with anyone. I really didn't respond to DMs like that. I really felt like it was too much. But that's why whenever I shifted into posting about my faith, I didn't have a lot of people that stayed because I didn't build that community aspect with them. A warm creator is someone who cares, is someone who's willing to respond to DMs, who is willing to engage with their community, who is willing to put out free things so that they can improve their audience's life and not only trying to sell you something. This is how you should show up online as a warm creator. And if you're not a person who loves people, one, think about if you should really be showing up on social media because you should be caring about the person who you're speaking to. You never know who's watching. Just because people aren't commenting on your post or DMing you or liking your video or brands aren't reaching out to you, this doesn't mean that they're not watching. People would tell me months later how my content or a video from almost a year ago had inspired them to change and do something different in their life, but they didn't have the courage to speak up and tell me out of the fear that they'll be judged. So that's why you have to keep showing up, doing you, no matter if someone is telling you you're doing a good job or not. I started to show up from the very beginning as if I already had 100K. So you may look like a fool to other people. You may even feel like a fool yourself. But if this is something that you're called to and you know that's what's coming for you, show up like it's already happened. Get on your story, even if there's 5 people who view it, and start talking about your day. Start sharing some valuable tips. People are going to notice, brands are going to notice, and it's going to be something that shifts in your mindset that allows you to show up that way in confidence, no matter what the analytics look like. When you implement this, you're gonna see how much better you're able to show up because you're already in the mindset of, I've already attained it. It makes your mind think bigger, and it makes you think on the scale of, if I had 100,000, what would I be doing? What would I have to learn in order to make that happen? What would I need to post? What would I need to be consistent with? What type of skills would I need to have in order to make that happen? It starts to make your mind think ahead, and you start to become really ambitious and willing to learn those things because you know that's what's going to come. You are the content. Don't overthink it because every single thing that you do is content. Waking up in the morning is content. Brushing your teeth, putting on your skincare, putting on your shoes. If you bought something from the store, I want to see it. If you just went through a struggle, I want to hear about it. If you're having a transition in your career, I want to know what's going on. There are so many things within your lifestyle that you can share. You don't have to create the environment. You don't have to create the life. You are the life. When I learned that, that took away so much stress and so much anxiety. in feeling like I had to have this perfect life. I had to be like everyone else who had these nice penthouses and the cars that I want. And I was living in a place that was super dark. It wasn't aesthetic. It was nothing like what I'm living in now. But you just have to start where you are. Don't be concerned about what your environment looks like, because there is someone out there who lives in a similar environment as you, and it's relatable and it's inspiring to them that you're showing up. Film what you're already doing. Although it can be repetitive of what you do every single day, it does not matter because it builds familiarity with your audience. For example, something that I do every single day is have a morning routine. So no matter what, I know that I'm going to wake up in the morning, I'm going to be journaling in my best belief journal, I'm going to be reading my Bible, I'm going to pray, and I'm going to make my purple tea and greens drink. So this is something that people can recognize my content by when they're just scrolling on my page. So what I would suggest is pick about 3 locations in your house to start with of where you're going to consistently post content to familiarize your audience with, and then get out of your own head and start talking to the camera. Start telling us what's going on in your life. Start giving us some encouragement. Start sharing something that happened in your day. Content doesn't have to be hard. It can be quite simple. Live your life. Once your content and your page starts to grow and start getting attraction, you're going to start getting DMs from people, whether you're selling a service or you're just showing up online because you absolutely love it and you want to have brand deals. It's important to have a boundary within yourself. And when all these notifications started to come, I started feeling so anxious. Anxious to the point where I felt like the moment I got an alert on my phone, I had to respond right away. And this took away from the quality of my life. And so what I did was turn off all of my notifications on social media, and I had to manually check it when I had the time. And the thing is, to prevent you from constantly going back and checking it even without the notifications, you can set a time frame within your day of, this is specifically when I'm going to check my DMs and respond to people. And this boundary really helped me improve my life and allowed me to actually enjoy what I was doing and be intentional about the way I was showing up online. Not only this helped me prioritize my mentality. It helped me be obedient in what God called me to do, because it allowed me to shift my focus from what was happening around me and instead take care of myself. Whether that was stewarding what He provided me, whether that was stewarding my mind, stewarding my body, treating myself nicely, having positive thoughts. This gave me the mental space to do that. Don't wait, write it down. This is one of the most underrated tips that I'm going to say today that you may not even take that seriously. But how many times have you told yourself you're going to remember something and then you actually forget? Yeah, me too. There are so many ideas that I probably have never remembered just because I didn't write it down in that moment. Whether it's for my podcast, for my YouTube, for my social media, whatever it is, the moment that I get it, I write that thought down. You can write your ideas as they pop up in your head, your experiences, any lessons that you've learned, or even something that you're doing during the day that you may want to talk about. Because there is nothing worse than having the most amazing idea and then forgetting it. And sometimes God will drop a word that is timely, aka a right now word, and you're expected to do something with that. But if you don't write it down, then you may forget, and He's not obligated to have to tell you again. So sister, write that down, write that down, write that down. If I get a creative thought while I'm already doing something, which is a lot of the time, I will go ahead and go to my notes app because it's super quick to just click on and type. Or I'll text myself so that later on I'll have this notification, or I'll go back to my notes app and then I'll transfer it and put it in my Notion, which is where I organize and manage all of my ideas. This is what I found has worked for me in managing these thoughts and ideas and experiences and lessons, and then moving to executing it. Bring your tech with you. Wherever you go, bring your little mic, Bring your phone or your camera, whatever you're gonna film with, and then grab a tripod. It can be a compact tripod. I actually have a few different ones, but this is just very important so that when you have a creative idea on the spot, and maybe you're in a cool place, you see a cool photo, or you see like a train or something that's moving, you just have an idea pop in your head, you can go ahead and film it right in that moment. Instead of stopping yourself and saying, well, I don't have any of my material, which then leads to procrastination and delay, and you could have got some really cool work right where you are. So just bring it with you. Don't feel like you're held hostage to your niche. The thing is, we're always changing, we're always growing, we're always evolving, and your interests can change. You may go through something, and what you used to talk about can start to become meaningless, and you start wanting to talk about something else. When I first started my social media page, I actually started as a fitness page, which is interesting to say because that's not something that I'm truly interested in posting at all anymore. And if you look at my page now, you may not even think that that's what I used to do, but it is. But after I did fitness, I started to have a passion in helping motivate people and encourage people. So I started doing both of them at the same time, which then led to me posting about food. So then I didn't even realize it at the time, but I had these three content pillars of fitness, motivation, and food. Then I ended up going through domestic violence, and I was off of social media for a really long time. I would say a long time as being like 6 months. But there was a point in time where God told me it's time to go back now. But this time when you go back, you're going to be talking about me. So when I came back to social media, I was really nervous to do it, but I did it anyway. And I just cold turkey went from what I used to talk about, and I started talking about my faith, about my testimony, and really about becoming the best version of myself and healing and taking that purpose-driven action to get there. So even now, my page looks different from that moment. It's been about a year and a half or 2 years, and now I would say my page is faith, business, lifestyle, and self-improvement. And all of this includes a healing aspect of my journey. So choose content pillars. This gives you more content to actually talk about because you may be multi-passionate, which is exactly what I am. So don't feel like you have to confine to one topic because you'll notice if you have one topic, the second that you decide to change it, the people that follow you are probably going to leave because they may not love you for you, but you can start to build that connection from the very beginning, which makes them attracted to different aspects of your life, aka your content pillars. So let's say you're someone who has one niche right now and you're wanting a tip on how to move out of that. First, decide what the content pillars would be and start sprinkling in that content here and there so you can familiarize your audience with that content, which would make them want to stay. But just keep in mind and be ready for the loss in followers. This happened to me. When I first started talking about my faith, I lost hundreds and hundreds of followers. But you know what? I was grateful because I realized that those people weren't my community. And I don't want to fake and be someone I'm not just so that you could be one of my followers. You can go. And what's great about this is the fact that all of those hundreds and hundreds of people that left were replaced with people who were supportive and on the same journey as me and who were willing to support me along that journey. So don't allow the fear of losing those followers that you already have keep you from moving forward. Stop doom scrolling for ideas. Look, I understand what it's like to be on social media just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling, trying to figure out what your next post is going to be. Try not to build the habit of constantly looking outward for those ideas and seek inward in your connection with the Lord, and He will give you those ideas. You can even ask Him, what should I talk about? What type of content do you want me to make? Who is my audience? Who do you want me to reach? A lot of the times when I'm looking for ideas and looking at other people's content, it's more so the style of their content, of how they're editing. I'm someone who loves to learn and someone who studies other people's editing so that I can get better. But I'm not taking their ideas because it may not be in alignment with God's will for what He wants me to use my social media for, if that makes sense. Whether you're making fun content or talking content or educational content, it's all about timing. It can be a great video, but it may not be the right video for what you're called to speak on or who your audience is. Your stress can be self-imposed. This means that you're causing yourself to be anxious or stressed out of the pressure you're putting on yourself to complete a task by a certain time or perform at a level that you're not at yet. It is truly okay if you miss your deadline of posting 5 times a week. It is okay if something happens in your life and you need to take a break from social media for a week or two. It is still going to be there. You are what's most important. I truly used to do this all of the time. If I didn't meet a deadline, if I didn't post at that exact time, if I didn't post 5 times a day, which I used to do on TikTok, I would just be so frustrated and be hard on myself. This caused my quality of life to start going down because I allowed the thing that I was so passionate about turn into something that I made not fun for me or anyone else that I was around, because it started to reflect in how I treated people. It started to reflect in how I treat myself. So it's okay to take a break. You don't have to be so hard on yourself. You don't have to overthink it. You don't have to allow the pressure from the world or what they tell you that you need to do to show up and be consistent and do all of these things. You don't even need to listen to that. You don't even have to listen to anything I'm saying. But I'm saying this as a point to take things that resonate with you and apply them to your life. Not everything you hear is fact and truth. And so if someone's telling you that you're not successful or you don't work hard enough because you take a break, that is ridiculous. It's okay to harmonize. Sometimes in different seasons call for different ways to show up. For example, sometimes you have to pull back energy in one area and put it in another area. When I was building my business Made by the Word, I couldn't show up on my personal Instagram account as much as I used to, because this meant I needed to put more focus into my business to get it up and running off the ground. And now that I'm in a space where I've got it up off the ground, now I'm focusing on marketing this business. I'm able to now put more energy and time into my personal brand. I believe it was Emma Chamberlain. She got off of her social media in totality to build her business. And once her business was built, she showed back up on her social media. And sometimes things happen in life where you have to give less on social media and give more into life. Or like the example that I just gave, you may need to build something in your business, so you have to push back on your social media. Harmonizing in the Bible is all about the intent to enrich and complement one another. And I know you may be thinking, hustle culture tells you to prepare ahead of time so that when you need to take a step back, you still have content running in the background. While yes, this is smart and it's a great tactic, that's not always possible for everyone. So in these moments, I want you to give yourself grace if you have to take a step back for a little while. You may have no support from others when you first start. People may make fun of you. People may tell you you're crazy. People may laugh at you at work. That's what they did for me. They laughed at me. They stalked my page. They told the manager on me so that I would get in trouble. All of these things happened, but I didn't let it faze me. Even where I work right now, they have no idea who I am on social media. I don't give them my account. I don't let them follow me. Show up knowing that God validates you. And in those moments, when you feel discouraged or you're bothered or you're upset, or you're feeling low because the people closest to you won't even support you, uplift yourself. I have been there. Even with my business, the closest people to me, the people who I'm normally always around, whether it's at work or it's people that I grew up with that say that they support me, they do not support me. They don't like my stuff. They don't share my stuff. They don't comment on my stuff. The only time you get a comment is when you have a celebration or you have a post saying you accomplished something. Where were you when I was in the trenches? You wasn't with me shooting in the gym. Keep showing up, doing what God called you to do, and the support will come, the income will come, the people will come, but let that not be your focus. Focus on the fact that you are showing up because you were called to do it. And don't feel like you need to delete content because it didn't get a lot of views. I had a post that had 1,000 views for like a few months, and then all of a sudden, it went to 250,000 plus. Old content can still perform. So even though I didn't have a lot of support in that post in the beginning, I eventually did have that support as I kept showing up and doing what I was called to do. Be you. You don't have to perform or be someone else when you're showing up online. There is a community out there who will love you for you being you. Whether you're goofy, whether you're serious, whether you're monotone, you have a community out there that only you can reach. When I first started posting faith-based content, I knew I wasn't a scholar. I knew I didn't know the Bible like that. I knew I didn't have a huge vocabulary of words or very studious like I see people who talk about scripture. What I did was show up as myself, which meant that I was talking to my audience as if they were my friend, as if I was talking to them on the phone. Really just sharing what I was going through, like a come with me type of vibe. I didn't want to place myself as an expert because there were a lot of questions that someone may ask me that I didn't know about. But I never pretended to be the expert or pretend like I had all the answers. By taking them along this journey, it took the pressure off of feeling like I had to fit someone else's narrative of what a faith-based creator looks like or sounds like. You're performing like someone you're not. Eventually, you're gonna get tired. Eventually, you're gonna break, and it may cause you to quit and let go of something that you work so hard for. So start strong from the beginning by being who you naturally are. No one else can do it like you. No one else has the same experience as you. You have everything you need already inside of you. Combat the fear and go for it. For the longest time, I was so nervous to talk in front of the camera that I never did it. I had a podcast with 50 plus episodes and not one was in video. So what did I have to do? I put courage into practice. I put boldness into practice. I didn't fake it till I make it. I don't ever suggest faking it. But what I do suggest is putting that into practice. The more reps you put in, the more comfortable you're going to be. And you may have to start small. When I first started talking in front of the camera, I had the camera on, but it was the side of my face. And after that, I had it in front of my face and I filmed and I talked in front of the camera, but I didn't post it. Which then over time led to me being like, okay, I feel comfortable in front of the camera. I'm actually going to start posting online. And a big part of me doing this is because God told me to do so and I wanted to be obedient. But my point is that I didn't start off talking in front of the camera like this. It took a lot of practice. And what you could do to help you show up despite the fear you may have is have someone to hold you accountable, whether it's a mentor, whether it's a community, or you could even have your own system to help you track yourself to see how often you show up and put those habits into practice through journaling. Aim to be 1% better every single time you post. Whether you're learning how to add different sound effects on your video, taking different camera angles, how to edit your video a little better, this is how you consistently accelerate and grow. You may see what I produce now and be like, wow, she is so good at editing. I started off so terrible. If I can find a video, I'm gonna add it so you can see it. But the cuts were off. It was elongated. Like there was no flow to the video. But I tried and started where I could. So that's what's gonna be most transformative in your journey is just starting where you are and focusing on becoming better every single time you move forward. Better doesn't always mean new. Better can just mean refining the skill that you already have and just becoming even better at it. Becoming 1% better doesn't always have to be something tangible. It could be a mindset shift, tuning out what people say about you, or showing up even when you don't feel like it. There won't always be proof. Just because you don't have proof that a strategy works because you don't see anyone else doing it doesn't matter. Divine strategy doesn't always make sense. You can look around and try to see and view it everywhere, which I've done that before, and I couldn't find it. But that's because I was the blueprint. Just know that proof of concept won't always be there, but know that you're called. Detach yourself from the outcome and just allow yourself to go through the process to figure out what's working, what's not, because the exact strategy that you're pushing yourself from not doing because you see that nobody else is doing it may be the exact strategy that's going to propel you forward. Vulnerability is what makes you stand out. In a world full of fake, they love to see the real. Don't feel bad when you have a bad day or when it's not the perfect time. Don't feel like you have to hide your bad days. What people appreciate is when you can show up and show that you're a human too. So if you're having a bad day, instead of just not showing up at all, express that. Share with them that you're having a bad day. Share with them that today is really hard and you may not show up. The exact thing that you feel like would make people not trust you or make you feel less than because you're going through something is actually going to make people relate to you and show people that you are human too. When I'm having a rough day, I go on my story and I talk about how I'm having a rough day. I talk about how something unexpected happened in my life, and now I'm not going to be able to show up as much. It really helps when you're able to be relatable because we're not these perfect people. And when you show up online, you may not even realize it, but you are a leader. And as a leader, it's great to be honest. It's great to show up as you are. So don't feel like you have to show up and say something motivational or say something that you don't really feel in your heart, because people can tell when you're not being honest. In the past, whenever I was going through domestic violence, I would show up online and I would fake it every single day. And I really didn't like that about myself. But what I realized is that even in my darkest moment, I was able to inspire someone to do better. A lot of what I would show up online talking about is more motivational things that if I look back, I was really doing it to talk to myself, to motivate myself. But imagine how many more people I would have impacted if I would have had the courage to share what I was going through. Imagine if I had the courage to also share what I was going through, I probably wouldn't have gone through as critical of a situation that I was in. But I'm not thinking about the would've, could've, should've. I'm just showing you as you move forward and how I go about things now is that I'm not afraid to be vulnerable. I think that is something that people really appreciate about me is that not only am I an open book about my past, I'm an open book about what I'm going through in this moment. Allow yourself to evolve over time. Keep testing and keep getting better every single day. Give yourself the permission to keep pivoting. Give yourself the permission to keep testing things out, because what I realized is that through all of my quote unquote mistakes, it was truly just a learned experience of, okay, I know not to do this anymore. So now I'm going to pivot and go a different route. I feel like I'm the queen of pivoting. There are so many things that I've done that I can say really helped me be in the place that I am now. There was a lot of hours spent editing content that at the end I realized, oh, I could have went about this an easier way, and then I saved myself time the next time I edit. So that's just on a smaller scale. And what can help you evolve is by one, taking care of your mentality, taking care of your body, and ensuring that you have a relationship with the Lord. Because the thing is, He helps you be at peace no matter what situation you're in. I could literally be in straight chaos and still be at peace in my mind. A mindset that really helped me when it comes to evolving is that there are growing pains. There are situations and obstacles that we can't just try to go around it and go another way. We're going to get lost and we're probably going to have to turn around, go back where we started, and go the way we were always supposed to go. I've ran through that door so many times of trying to skip the hard part and go the easier route, but the easier route just led me back to the beginning. So sometimes the only way to get where we're going is to go through. And through that process, it causes us to refine. It causes us to be molded. It causes us to go through trials and approach them differently. And during this process of the becoming, you are literally being formed into the person who can handle whatever blessing is coming your way. You don't want something too fast when you're not ready. For example, you don't want to have 100,000 followers when you can't even handle the 100 you may have right now. If you're not responding to those right now, if you don't have systems and foundations in place right now. But as you go along the journey and you're going through the process, you're going to be able to learn things and experience things along the way that are going to prepare you to be capable of handling those 100,000 or whatever you end up being at. Because when I first started, I wanted all the followers. That was something that was my motivator, and that's why I burnt out. And so giving myself permission to evolve involved me letting go of what I think the outcome should be, submitting my plans to the Lord, and just following his path. And our last tip/lesson is invest in yourself. I have spent thousands of dollars and hundreds of thousands of hours investing in myself. Investing in yourself doesn't have to always do with money. It can have to do with time. And you can think of that like in a business. When you first start your business, a lot of your time is spent on building the business, but as you grow, you can then free yourself from that time spent in having systems in place and having people to help you in place. And some things that I invested in that really helped me on my journey in the beginning was I used to buy courses. I mean, I still buy stuff because I'm always learning and evolving and wanting to receive more knowledge because I never settle with what I used to know. There's always something that I can continue to learn every single day. But I've invested in courses. I've invested in one-on-one mentors. I've invested my time. I've invested my time on the weekends when everyone else is working. I've invested my time on the weekends when everyone else is having fun with their friends. They're at the movies, they're at restaurants, they're doing activities. Sometimes I sacrifice my time to build on what I know God called me to build on. I sacrificed my time when I was at work, working as a nurse in 12-hour shifts overnight. When people were sleeping, I was working. I was trying to figure out everything that I needed to know so that I could get myself out of the situation I was in, because I knew it was going to take skills that I didn't have in that moment. So I gave myself the permission to invest in myself. And it does take sacrifice. It's a sacrifice to spend money on having someone help you become where you're trying to go. But what is better? Spending more time on where you're trying to go, making all the mistakes that they've already made that they could have helped you get through quicker. And let's say you don't even have the funds right now. There are so many free resources out there that you can use to learn something that's going to help you with your content creation, with your business, with your social media page, whatever it is. There are free resources out there to help you. The mindset shift you need to move forward and excel in content creation is being resilient. Anytime you fall, getting right back up, knowing that failing forward is the way to go. If you don't fall, then you don't learn. And remember to keep your eyes on you. Keep your eyes on the Lord, because it's so easy to compare yourself to someone else, not even realizing that they're at their chapter 20. So you can't compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter, because one, you don't know what they went through to get it, and you don't see what they do behind the scenes in order to keep up with all of the things that they have. Use them as inspiration and not as a contest of someone you need to be or be better at something. Because at the end of the day, no matter what level you're at, there's always going to be someone that's a step ahead of you. Maybe they have more knowledge than you, they have more experience than you, but that's not something you should be worried about. Trust that by putting in the reps, you're going to become the person you were always destined to be. This is everything that I would do if I was going to start over as a content creator. I truly pray that you received this, that it blessed you, that it helped you. My website is currently under construction, and I'm so excited to tell you that I've been updating my services, some involving YouTube and podcast video editing, and I'm starting to offer for a limited time comprehensive social media audit and strategy. This is everything you need to get started in your journey, and I'm going to share so much and pour so much into you, and I'm just so excited that we get to be on this journey together. If you want more information, just make sure to comment me in the description and I'll send you the link. Okay, love you. Bye.